Thanks, Fahad. We got some great bullish picks ahead. How about on the short side? Anything you're looking at this week, near term, short stuff?
I have some shorts that I'm looking at for next week, but I also have one potential long idea that I'm looking at next week. I'm going to keep the discussion on this pretty brief and quick. They are catalyst driven for the most part. So I have three stocks over here I want to cover. First one is a stock that we actually used to own a while back, Golar LNG, GLNG. Now, you all know we are bullish on LNG. We currently have an open position in LNG. GLNG, we exited that position a while back. Now, Tom, I want to bring this up because there's an important conference that is taking place in New York next week that could potentially serve a catalyst. This is an LNG conference, and in this conference, several shippers, LNG shippers are presenting, one being Golar LNG. In a note out from Bank of America, they point out, going into this conference, that the global demand for LNG remains strong, and that pushed the shipping rates to a multi-year high in December before a seasonal pullback at the start of the year, which is pretty normal for the seasonality pullback over here. But then they go on to say that there's a significant amount of shortage in the capacities expected in the second half of 2019. So they're expecting the shipping rates to rise back to new all-time high after this moderate seasonal pullback. I think the key over here, if Golar LNG comes out in this conference and they basically confirm this view that you're going to see shipping rates start to rise again in the second half, I think that could set up for the stock to rally next week. And we've also seen, if you go to Jaguar Scan, you will notice there has been a steady accumulation in the stock for the last couple of weeks. So it's worth keeping an eye on.
And that conference is on Thursday this coming week.
Yep, Thursday next week. Then I have one more. And did you see the news on BMW yesterday?
No.
Probably bad. So probably everybody just wanted to ignore it given the market rally. But no, this was a very, very important news. BMW reported out of Germany that they're forecasting now an absolutely disaster 2019. They literally call this year out to be substantially less than 2018 in terms of their profitability. But it's not just BMW. We've been talking about this now since October and November. The US SAR, the new vehicle sales in the United States, peaked in October. And there's a chart over here that basically shows the 12-month moving average going down from 17.5 million to now about 16.5 million units at the end of February. The problem with this entire thing is that the sales are actually negative. GM was down some mid-single digit percentage in the month of February. Ford was down mid-single percentage, and I'm talking about year over here. I mean, these data points are crashing. So why do I care about this? Because of technically. If you look at General Motors chart, I think this is heading south. This is not participating with the rally. The chart is telling you right there. We have breakouts coming in the entire market. In the S&P, Dow, everything is basically rising right back to the all-time highs. This chart, General Motors continues to roll over. It peaked at $40 per share at the start of March. Now it's at $37. And taking a look at the technicals, I think the stock is going to $34 to $35 per share. Also, if you look at the Jaguar Scan, you will notice that the trend for the option order flow was actually quite bullish during January and February. But I think ever since that February vehicle sales data came out, trend has started to shift, and now we're seeing more and more bearish flow than what we were seeing previously.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Now, here's an interesting one, the third stock that I'm watching next week, and this one is many of you probably are going to find perplexing. What do you think of ROKU when you think about it? I mean, some people love it. Some people think it's just trash. What's your opinion?
I really don't see the point. Every TV you buy is a smart TV now, so I don't see the need for a smart device to plug into it.
And that's exactly my thought. I mean, why do you need it? I mean, simple question, right? Why do you need ROKU? You have smart TVs, you have your Xbox, you can watch in so many devices. Everything is basically going in on-demand video format anyway. Why do you need ROKU? So anyways, there are very, very big opinions in the market on this particular stock, wide spreads of opinion. So for example, and I'm just listing two over here, Needham has ROKU as their top pick for 2019. And they recently raised their price target all the way to $85 per share, which I believe is a street high. They believe that this is the game changer for the industry. I don't know. I've also read the other article that's called ROKU as the modern version of TiVo. Have you ever seen TiVo stock? It's a disaster. It used to be a hot stock, and then it just basically crashed, and nobody trades that anymore. What I can tell you is, oh, by the way, also on the bear side, last week, Loop Capital came out and cut the stock to sell rating with a $45 price target, which I believe is street low. So now, if you put the analysts from Needham and Loop Capital together in a room, they'll probably start, I don't know. So you get my point. But here's the most important thing that I'm looking at from a trade perspective. I have a small little snapshot over here. Take a look at this rising short interest. At the end of November, actually at the end of December, about 7.4 million shares were sold short. The short interest was about 7.5%. Only 2 months later, the short interest had essentially almost doubled. Now about 15.5 short interest, more than 12 million shares are sold short. The bears are leaning against it. And there was a big, if you go back to the technicals now, the stock had a massive sell-off on a very high volume, but it found support on this very important technical level. So one of two things is going to happen from here. Either this is a bear flag in a rising channel, and ultimately it's going to break down through this trend support. And if it does, I don't see any major support coming into the stock all the way to 45, which is the target by Loop Capital. So then you're looking a huge breakdown, stock going from about 66 to 45. A lot of money to be made over there by having puts. On the other hand, stock is not going to care what people think. These shorts will continue to get squeezed, and the stock is going to go back to a new 52-week high. We'll find out. The trigger here is to wait until the technical breakdown is in your hand, and at that point, buy put options.
Good. So some stuff we're watching. GLNG conference on Thursday, potential long. GM looks like a short here. And Roku, to be determined, but a short if it breaks through that trend resistance.
Yep. And General Motors.
Yep, I got it.
You're right. That's it from us today, Jags. Hope it was fun. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Take care.